So there is a famous person who you definitely know who has the most perfect example of how Chiron can show up in one's birth chart, from both the pain of Chiron that can be turned into one's power. So yes, you definitely know this person, although she's not a modern famous person, but honestly, that would be fun to do a video on that next. So I'm going to get into it in a second, but hi y'all, if you don't know me, my name is Lisa. I'm an astrotherapist, which is a licensed therapist who integrates astrology into my work with clients. So essentially utilizing the power of the birth chart to help people better understand themselves, their strengths, their weaknesses, themes that you're gonna have to address in this lifetime, as well as looking at the current transits to see how to best support you at this moment in time. Okay, so who is this famous person, this famous woman? Okay, it's Frida Kahlo. Now, I hope y'all do know who Frida Kahlo is. If you don't, go Google her. Maybe the younger folks won't know as well, but I hope you do, because she's an incredible artist, like iconic. Oh, by the way, disclaimer, before I get into this, I just want to say, if you have the same Chiron placement as Frida Kahlo, please do not be freaked out by this video. She is an extreme example of the Chiron pain, okay? So I just want to say, if you have Chiron in the 6th house, this doesn't mean this is going to be your life. Maybe you resonate with parts of it, but please do not freak out. Of course, we always use like the big examples, the exaggerated examples. Okay, so Frida Kahlo, she's a Mexican artist who was born, I mean, honestly, she was alive in the early 1900s. I think she died in like the 1950s, okay? Incredibly talented artist, but her story is so wild, and honestly her whole chart is crazy. We could do a whole video on Frida Kahlo's birth chart because it is so her and is so incredibly powerful. But for this video, we're going to talk about Frida Kahlo's Chiron, which is in the sign of Aquarius, but I'm most interested in how her Chiron is in the 6th house in her birth chart. Yes, the sign and house are both important. If you watch my other videos, you know that they're both important, but the house is what we're going to talk about in this video, with maybe a little added thing in the end about the Aquarius. So refresher on Chiron, if you're new here, I have lots of videos, go back if you want to learn more. So Chiron is an asteroid. Everyone has this asteroid in their birth chart, and it represents a part of your chart, a part of your life that is, there's some kind of wounding. There's something that's hard for you here. Now, everyone's story is different, but wherever Chiron is, it's a wounding point. It's hard. It's trauma, it's emotional, something happened to you, or it's inherited. It's just something you struggle with for some reason. And we look at which house it lands in out of the 12 pie slices, if you're familiar with the birth chart. And this will show you what aspect of life there's some kind of wounding in for you, all right? So for your own chart, you can look at what pie slice is my Chiron in. So Frida Kahlo's Chiron is in her 6th house, okay? So what is the 6th house about? The 6th house is a lot of things, but the main thing people will often think about is the 6th house is related to our health, okay? Our day-to-day life, our routines. Yeah, especially historically, the 6th house was definitely associated with like bad health, like stressful things related to your body, your health, your well-being. Now, if you know anything about Frida Kahlo's story, she literally had such a hard life in regards to her health, okay? Illness, injury. So literally at age 6, she had polio, which like forever left her a little bit disabled. Polio was gnarly back in the day, by the way. And then at age 18, she got in the infamous bus accident involving the trolley, where she had massive injuries that impacted her for the rest of her life. She was bedridden, wheelchair in and out of bed. I think she had over like 30 surgeries over the course of her lifetime. And mind you, y'all, this was like the early-ish 1900s. Like, medical stuff was crazy. I imagine they were even like experimenting on her. I mean, that sounds really dramatic, but like not modern medicine vibes. So again, if you know anything about Frida, also there's an awesome documentary. I mean, read up on her. She's truly an incredible person and her artwork is incredible. But yes, her health issues were profound. Like, I'm not kidding. If you see the pictures, she was bedridden so much in her life that she literally had a mirror above her bed so she could paint her own self-portrait. Okay, that's how much time she spent in bed. She was often in body casts. She had all kind of spinal injuries that made it difficult for her to walk. And she would often paint these casts, like literally paint on top of them, okay? Her body, her health, it was something that was incredibly wounding. It was incredibly painful physically and also obviously really impacted her life. Her Chiron wound. Okay, so how are we getting into this like power part of the Chiron, right? Because obviously she had a really hard life, but she also had an incredibly profound impact on the world as an artist. And guess what? She actually started painting after her injuries when she was bedridden. I mean, can you imagine being bedridden like that, especially as an 18-year-old? I mean, you would need to have to figure out how to entertain yourself, okay? how to pass the time, your daily life, which is also very sixth house, by the way. It's what you do on the daily. So literally, that's when she started painting. She taught herself how to paint after her injuries because she was stuck in bed. So again, it was because of this wounding around her health, around her body, around her disability, that she tapped into her creative pursuits. She started painting. Obviously, she's incredibly talented. Again, if you don't know her, please go Google her, search her. Her art is so amazing. It is literally otherworldly. And I also want to share, she definitely painted to process her pain. She painted about her pain, her body, so many self-portraits, her and her cast, her spinal injuries. Like, she really did transmute a lot of that pain into her art, okay? And ended up inspiring people till the end of time. I mean, she's incredibly famous. And not only that, she's also so famous for, and this is where I'm going to get into the Aquarius part of her Chiron. So again, her Chiron is in the sign of Aquarius. She's also notorious for being so her own person, so individualistic, so unique, so Aquarian weirdo, right? Like, she was queer. I mean, queerness has been around forever, but she was like openly queer way back in the early 1900s, which was like so wild. Like, she would dress masculine, she would wear suits, she was really owning her Aquarius energy, and I'm sure she definitely got in trouble for it. I'm sure people definitely judged her for it, right? Which is part of the Chiron wound, but she definitely honored it. She like honored her sexuality, she honored her individuality, her self-expression, how she dressed, going against the gender norms. Like, she really did own that. That was part of her Chiron and Aquarius magic. And the other last thing I'll say about that Aquarius energy, she was also quite political. She, if you really read her history, she was really into fighting for the people, different political parties, going against political parties, pretty like openly, and definitely got in trouble for it, but it was also kind of an icon for that as well. She definitely was interested in society, the people, humanity. It was definitely a figure, so in that way. So that's a little bit part of the Aquarius Chiron. I do think she owned that. Okay, that's it for now. So do you know Frida Kahlo? What do you think about this? Do you have your Chiron in the sixth? Do you have something to share? Again, not everyone's story is going to be this dramatic, potentially. Maybe it is. Just an example of how somebody's intense wounding related to Chiron can also turn into one's power. Everyone's story is going to be different, but if you want to share in the comments, where's your Chiron? What sign? What house? Have you turned some of your pain into your power? Maybe it's a gift to the world. Let me know in the comments. Also, we're all on a journey with our Chiron. So patience, compassion, and curiosity. Okay, thanks.